COVID-19 is most likely man-made, and Bat-woman is the #1 suspect. Dr. Fauci is not allowed to testify in the House because the White House doesn't want him to be surprised by any of the questions. And Harry Reid says there's a lot more to the UFO story than the government's actually telling us. Welcome to today's episode of Leading the Way. Alright guys, so we're doing a lot of big things these days, right? We're adapting, we're adjusting. Mostly because we have to, but also because we have, good brains. I can tell. You guys are smart, and we're all in this together, so let's try to find some common ground, right? Something we can all agree on. Like, the government could be doing a better job, in general, with almost everything. But also specifically, we need a little more transparency, guys, right? Example 1, they're hiding UFOs from us, okay? Let's look at the article. The first article I want to get into today is from Vice, and the title, UFO videos only scratch the surface of what the Pentagon knows, Harry Reid says. And here's a nice little picture of the spacecraft here. So the former Nevada Senator, Harry Reid, said that the 3 videos that were released of the UFO footage only scratch the surface of what the Pentagon actually has as far as research, okay? And Reid has been a senator for 30 years. He was the Senate Majority Leader from 2007 to 2015, and he helped to create a so-called black budget for the U.S. Pentagon, okay, the UFO program, and it was called Advanced Aerospace Threat Identification Program. And according to the New York Times in 2017, they revealed that this program does exist, and it was run by Lewis, who shared some of the videos that were filmed by the military with the singer from Blink-182, right? Tom DeLonge, All the Small Things, right? Now, when these videos came out the other day, Senator Harry Reid, he tweeted something, right? And this is what he tweeted. "I'm glad the Pentagon is finally releasing this footage, but it only scratches the surface of what the research and materials that are available. The U.S. needs to take a serious scientific look at this and any potential national security implications. The American people deserve to be informed," right? So, Senator, he's been in Congress for a long time. He's been in the Senate for a long time. He was the Senate Majority Leader and a very important guy. And now he's talking about how, there's a lot more that the government isn't telling us, right? So they're hiding stuff from us, okay? Example 2, right? So the second example I want to show you today is a video that was put out by the White House press secretary, okay? Her name's Kayleigh. And in this video, she talks about why Dr. Fauci is not able to testify in the House, okay? And let's hear what she has to say, right? So here's Kayleigh.
Kayleigh, the president said yesterday he does not want Dr. Fauci testifying before the House because it's filled with Trump haters. How is that consistent with oversight and transparency?
Well, first of all, what the president noted was specific to the House. It's important to note that Dr. Fauci will be testifying before the Senate, which means he will be fielding questions from both Democrats and Republicans. The House, however, and specifically Chairwoman Nita Lowey's committee, did not act in good faith. Mark Meadows had 3 calls with Chairwoman Nita Lowey 3 nights ago when she called to ask if Dr. Fauci could testify before a subcommittee hearing. And Chief of Staff Mark Meadows has made clear he wants to make the best use he can of the task force members' time. Of course, they're working hard to save American lives, so that's very important. So to that end, he said in the 3 phone calls, what is the purpose of this hearing? Can you give me the subject matter? And Lowey was unable to tell the Chief of Staff what the subject matter was. The last phone call they had was at 10:46 p.m. on that evening, and Lowey agreed to follow up in the morning with details. Those details were never received. Instead, we got a press release. So that's what we call a publicity stunt. We encourage the House to act in good faith, much like the Senate did. And as I noted, Dr. Fauci will be speaking in a week and a half before the Senate, so the notion that he's being blocked is just farcical.
It's just farcical, guys, okay? It has nothing to do with the fact that the House is not playing along, right? She says it kind of out in the open. We're not going to let Fauci testify because certain people in the House aren't playing by the rules, right? The Senate's playing by the rules they've told us what they're going to ask Fauci, but since we don't know exactly what kind of questions Fauci's going to be getting, it's not worth his time, right? He's too busy back behind closed doors saving people constantly, right? He's back there, mouth to mouth on somebody. He's saving somebody right now. He's so busy that he can't testify in front of the House because we don't know what you're going to ask him, right? So, example 2, they're hiding stuff from us, right? Now, the third article I want to show you today it's an anonymous article, okay? But that doesn't mean it doesn't have validity to it still, right? It's from a website called Nerd Has Power, and the title, RATG13, the undeniable evidence that the Wuhan coronavirus is man-made, okay? And before we go through this article, I want to give you a little bit of a background story, right? I want to put some context to this article. So, RATG13, the sequence, right? This was published on January 23rd of this year, 2020, right? And there's a lady that published it. We're going to call her the Bat-woman, okay? And she published this right around January 23rd because people in China were starting to get a little bit suspicious, right? So she's working at the Wuhan Lab of Virology, okay? And her job is to create these bat coronaviruses, right? She's linked up with Fauci somehow. And what's happening here is they're saying that she's saying she's had this virus that she found it in the wild back in 2013, but she waited until 2020 to release the sequence. And a lot of people are raising questions about this, right? Because it's not very often that you find a bat coronavirus that has the potential to spill over, right? That has the potential to spill over into humans and infect them, right? And that's because they're looking for this all the time, right? She's out there looking for this. She's known as the Bat Lady. And it would be a really big deal if she would have found this in 2013 because it's kind of a rare thing to find. But she found it in 2013, but for some reason she waited until this year to release it, right? Now, the reason she released it is she's saying this is evidence that COVID-19 did not come from a lab, right? She's saying, I found this bat coronavirus back in the day, back in 2013, and it actually matches up with the coronavirus, the DNA sequence, 96%, right? The only problem is she doesn't actually have the sample of this virus, right? Don't know where it went. I don't have a sample, but what I do have is the sequence that matches up exactly. Now, the reason this is a problem is because she would have come out with this virus sooner, right? It doesn't make sense that she came out and she waited so long. But the reason they're saying this is man-made is because the RATG13, it matches up with COVID-19 very closely, right? And it was found all the way back in 2013. Now, what people are saying is the sequence is too closely related in certain areas. If she would have found this virus back in 2013, there should be more mutations in certain areas, right? That would allow us to understand, where it's been, where it's gone, okay? But there's none of these mutations. But guess what? Now that it is in the wild, right, now that people are getting infected with the coronavirus, they have all these different samples now, and it is mutating. So they're saying it's very weird that it never mutated from 2013 to 2020 when she released it on the 23rd of January. But there's all these mutations now. So there's a lot of smart people questioning why this is, right? So we're going to get into the article here, and we're going to go over a little bit of what I just told you, okay? So RATG13, right? And what is the true origin of the coronavirus? Many scientific publications seem to tell you that the virus was born in nature, okay? But how reliable are these publications? Well, before I comment on that, I would like to bring out an important fact. All of the publications rely on one single piece of evidence, and that is the RATG13, okay? And it looks like a close cousin of the Wuhan coronavirus, right? They're 96% identical. But he's saying there's a problem here, right? This virus, it isn't real. The evidence of its existence is sequenced and was fabricated. Quite a claim, right? That's what he says. What is the claim based on? How can anyone fabricate this sequence? Who dares to carry out such deceitful action and is not fearful being caught? Well, let's dig into it, okay? And he's going to provide some answers to prove why he's saying this. And so he's saying that the sequence was reported by the Bat Lady, Zhengli Shi, a researcher from the Wuhan Institute of Virology and the Biosafety Level 4 lab for virology research, okay? And she's a top expert in China, and she's known as the Bat-woman, right? We already talked about she's the Bat-woman, okay? And she's saying that, ironically, since the beginning, she's been singled out as the suspect, right? So people in China were like, you're a little bit suspicious. And what does she do? She says, hey guys, I'm not suspicious, right? I found this virus back in 2013. SARS-CoV-2 obviously came from the wild, not a lab leak. No need to worry, okay? So that's her answer, right? But he's saying, can this sequence of such a virus be fabricated? And he's saying it could not be easier. It could take anybody that knows how to do this stuff less than a day to type out this sequence, okay? And here he goes on to talk about if it did truly exist, why did she neglect coming out with it for 7 years? Okay, a little bit suspicious, right? And here's some of the DNA sequencing, right? This is kind of a little bit too deep for us to go through right now, but he gives a closer look at the gene sequence to look at the spike protein to show evidence of human manipulation, right? And I think the easiest way to show this, guys, is this little graphic here, okay? So this is how I'm going to explain it to you guys, because I think this is the easiest way. So these are two different viruses, right? ZC45, ZXC21. And if you notice here, this red line, it has all these little, deviations. It's going up, it's going sideways, it's changing. And they're saying that this red line represents the changes between the viruses when they're out in the wild, right? They're infecting different things, and there's little changes that happen. They mutate when they're in the wild as they're jumping from host to host. Now, SARS-CoV-2, COVID-19, and this virus that they're saying it came from, well, here's the problem, guys. There's no variations. There's no mutations. You can see from this red line, this long flat area, means there's been no mutations in this huge sequence. And from what the smart people are saying, this is impossible to have happened like this if it came naturally in the wild. Okay, so more evidence of the lab leak theory, right? And I would love to have a conversation with this, right? We're always trying to reach out and have a conversation about this stuff because it's a big deal, right? If this was leaked from a lab, we really need to get to the bottom of it. But it doesn't seem like people are trying that hard to get to the bottom of it. So we're trying to grasp at some different stuff so that we can come up with some answers for you guys. But anyways, let's keep going here. So as we go through here, I want to show you one more thing. And this is the evidence of why it's been mutating in the wild, right? So here is the sequence, RATG13, right? This is the one the Bat Lady came up with. And here's SARS-CoV-2, okay? And you can see here they match up perfectly, right? Now, these are dates where they found coronavirus in patients on the 9th, on April 17th, on April 13th. And what this shows is mutations, okay? So on April 17th, this A turned into a V, okay? On the 13th, this V turned into an A, and this S turned into an F, right? So these are the little mutations that happen constantly when viruses are working their way through hosts, okay? And so they're saying this is adding to the evidence why it's a lab-made virus, okay? And we're going to stop there, right? Before I leave today, I just want to say, there's a lot of conspiracies going on. There's a lot of different information. And here at Leading the Way, we do believe that COVID-19 is a very serious virus, right? And we need to be very careful. We need to be wearing masks, social distancing, protecting ourselves, erring on the side of caution, because, it's a smart thing to do. It's a wise thing to do. So we hope you guys are staying safe out there. Now, before I leave, I got to show you a Twitter video, right? So the Twitter video I have for you today is, it's from a guy that's, he's a very controversial guy, but I find him funny, so that's why I wanted to show you this today, right? His name's Alex Jones, if you haven't heard of him, and here's what he has to say.
I'll admit it. I will eat my neighbors. I'm not letting my kids die. I'm just going to be honest. My superpower is being honest. I've extrapolated this out, and I won't have to for a few years since I got food and stuff, but I'm literally looking at my neighbors now and going, I'm ready to hang them up and gut them and skin them and chop them up. You know what? I'm ready. My daughters aren't starving to death. I'll eat my neighbors. See, my superpower is being honest. I'll eat your ass. I will. I'm combat model, optimum self-sufficiency, probably the leader. The point is have you thought about that yet? Because I'm somebody that thought I could fix this, and I'm starting to think about having to eat my neighbors. You think I like sizing up my neighbor, how I'm going to haul him up by a chain and chop his ass up? I'll do it. My children aren't going hungry. I will eat your ass. And that's why I want the globalists to know. I will eat your ass first.
All right, so Alex seems to be a little worked up, right? And if you're his neighbor, here's what you should do. Maybe go out and buy a little bit of extra food right now. Put it in the freezer. Have some stuff on hand. So when he comes over to eat you, just hand him some food so he's not so hungry. I think this is a very good compromise for the whole situation, right? And Alex, let's try our best not to eat our neighbors. Probably not the best thing now that we're in a pandemic. Let's not create any more chaos than we already need. Let's calm down a little bit and maybe eat the food you're talking about here that you have for 3 years. I don't know. But anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed the show today, and until next time, my name is David, and this has been Leading the Way.